This is Dallas Stanford, voice of the New England Free Jacks, and you're watching the Jacks Rangers show. Huzzah!
Huzzah, Rangers. This is Phil Harris again here at the Jacks Rangers show. I'm joined as always by my buddy, Chris Lind, aka Bozo6. Chris, how the hell are you?
I am doing well at 4-2 this week, Phil. Round 6 was good to the Bozo.
You were killing it, man. You're doing so good on your picks. It was a fruitful journey down there to the Magic Kingdom for you.
Telling you.
Yeah.
After an abysmal round 4, I'm back. 2 weeks on the trot. I'm doing well.
Yes, you are. And let's look at these results. I'll let you go through them from the most recent one that just took place. Go ahead.
Yeah, and as always, we'll cover the Free Jacks final. Yeah, so the most, Los Angeles Guillotinis at the Coliseum, Utah Warriors came into their house and they beat them pretty good. I didn't watch the match, haven't caught the highlights yet, but 28-19, Guillotinis go down. Utah Warriors, couple scalps, 2 in a row now for them. They're very strong. I think that they're coming on in the West. They had a slow start and more exciting things to come from Utah. We'll talk about that in a little bit for my picks.
Yes, sir. So I forgot to mention, this is rapid reactions. Obviously, we're going through the previous matches here from round number 6, I believe it is at this point. And just
round 6.
Yeah, just kind of covering the scores and making a really rapid reaction to what took place. So yeah, and it feels good to have the Gil Weenies losing. They're at they're below 500 rugby right now. So it's a beautiful thing to see. They are the evil empire. I don't feel bad at all. They're the defending champions and they look like crap right now. So we're rejoicing here in Free Jack land. The Rangers, it's beautiful that Utah beat them. So what you got next?
Hell yeah. So then we got our own Rugby New Jersey Hoboken semifinalists there. Sorry for the Freudian slip there. They best the San Diego Legion 26-23 at home. Yep. They get a little bit of redemption there in Hoboken. As much as I'm disappointed that they keep pace with our New England Free Jacks atop the table, I did actually predict this. I thought it was going to be a little bit, this was one of my most interesting encounters of round 6 because you had, a top 3 East versus a top 3 West team, both teams in pretty good form. And it was a back and forth battle. New York just had the final say and they were at home. So a 3-point win at home, I wouldn't read too much into that. If you're San Diego, that's a really long road trip. So, I mean, look for more winning ways for both of these clubs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hard to argue with that. I mean, again, it's so annoying that Rugby New Jersey is actually really good. It would be better if they were just losing all the time, but unfortunately, that's not the case. And by the way, it looked like a decent crowd once again there in Hoboken, so good on them, I guess.
Hey, good for their organization. We'll root for their fans. That's okay. They can support their team. That's all right. Somebody's got to support the semifinalists.
Scott, the big guy Ferrara, is a friend of this show, even though we're a bitter rivals on the pitch. He's a friend of this show. So way to go, Scott. Your team is very good, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, hey, next up, we're going to rapid react on the Seawolves. Oh man. And at the death loss to the Sabercats. I actually had the Seawolves winning this one. I didn't see them going 0-3 in their last 3, but here we are. They were looking like a really strong contender. And then they lose to San Diego. Then they get pipped by NOLA, and now they drop another one to the Sabercats. I don't want to say that the wheels are coming off out there in Seattle, but they're getting exposed a little bit, and they've got to right the ship and do it quick because that Western Conference is pretty competitive. If they want to stay in the hunt, as they say, they're going to have to get back to their winning ways in round 7.
Yeah, sorry, rookie. It's unfortunate your team lost there, but I mean, it was at Houston as well. That's one hell of a trip. Anytime you're leaving the Pacific Northwest, you've got a ways to travel to get pretty much anywhere else in the country. People kind of forget about that. They're just kind of isolated by themselves out there. So all of their travel games are hellish. So yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, we can talk about this a little bit later, but we'll just say that there's some beasts in the East that are well in the driver's seat and in control. But the West has a lot of parity.
Yes.
And so right now, I think that it's all other than the top of the table jabronis, like I think it's all to play for 2 and 3 in the West. So I don't know that Seattle's completely, I don't hang your head, but they got to get back to winning ways before the season gets away from them. That's all I'll say for that. Yeah. And then, hey, I mean, the Dallas Jackals, the woes continue. Hard fought, a better showing this time against a not so strong NOLA Gold team.
Right.
But they lose again at home. It's really, again, I guess for the Dallas Jackals, you're just looking forward to that OGDC game. Somebody's O's got to go. I really hope both teams are still wooden spooned to that point, so to speak. I hope they're both the battle of the winless. I can't wait to pick that one if that's the case. Man, that sucks. Dallas.
Man, I
Feel
tell
bad.
you what, like at least they're competitive in that game. I mean, obviously, I didn't watch any of this game. I don't watch a lot of these games that aren't the Free Jacks. I'll go ahead and admit that. I love the highlights. That's kind of my deal. But in terms of Dallas, still being winless, at least they're keeping it competitive. The score line is, I mean, it seems like they were in the game, or at least at some point they were in the game. So that's pretty encouraging. Keep playing, Dallas. I mean, you're the wooden spoons right now, but again, Old Glory, just as bad as they are.
Hey, and then shout out to our former boy there, Cale Hodgson, getting the start on the wing for Dallas. He got traded out there. We knew he wanted to play.
Yep.
And good to see a man getting to fulfill his dream and being in a starting lineup for the Dallas Jackals.
Yeah, so, it's awesome to see. He is a friend of the show, so best of luck to you, Cale. Have a blast out there in Dallas.
And I didn't mention this at the beginning of the segment, but full disclosure, I have actually, since I've committed to doing this segment, I've actually really committed to trying to watch most of the games of all of the rounds. And it's a big time commitment, but usually on the weekends I'm loafing around. This weekend my booty was on duty out in the woods playing Army, so I didn't have any kind of time to watch most of the games. I tried to catch as much as I could, but yeah, just a little full disclosure there. I try to actually do watch the other teams because it helps me inform these picks. Plus all my other voodoo magic and other stuff that I do.
It's not all supernatural, ladies and gentlemen. There is
it's
some
not
knowledge.
All supernatural. It's all not. Yeah. So hey, this was my other encounter of the weekend. We had the undefeated, well, now no longer, but at the time, undefeated Jabronis going to the Snake Pit to take on Rugby ATL. I actually had the Jabronis staying undefeated. This was one of my two picks that I didn't get right. But you know what? At the same time, I'm not disappointed. I'm happy to see Atlanta win, because if you do that little rugby math thing, New York beat Atlanta, we beat New York. So we got the Jabronis in round 7. So does that mean we're better than them? I mean, I know it's all about matchups. You can't extrapolate it like that, but it made me feel a little bit more comfortable. Once an undefeated team kind of goes down, it shows there's the blueprint to beat them. So yeah, good on Atlanta, hard fought match, and they took the win at home. So
yeah, man, it's always nice to see the guild teams lose. And up to this point, the Jabronis were undefeated. So it's nice to see them knock down a peg or two. Unfortunately, it happened from an Eastern Conference team that is right there in the playoff hunt. It was same with us. So it would have been nice if it was a Western Conference team. It is what it is, but let's continue on.
Yeah, the beasts of the East go 3-0 in round 6. I mean, nothing changes, right? So as much as we hate it, we just got to keep pace with them, and that's okay. And then
for sure.
So we finally kind of zero in, right? Our New England Free Jacks downing the Arrows. Listen, I'm sure you and Dave are going to go over this, or you guys will go over this in depth in the Outrider segment for those of us listening. So my only reaction to this one is, I didn't see us. I did watch the full match. I didn't see us out of control at any part of this match. We jumped on them early, kind of stayed on them. We absorbed a crap ton of their pressure, which some people will view as negative, the possession battle, but I thought that was a positive. That really showed that we can play some good defense. My only disappointment in the team, man, we've got to stop giving away those,
bonus points.
I think Diamond Dave refers to it because he was referring to one of the announcers, the squeaky butt time.
Oh, that was me. That was me. Yeah, in squeaky butt time. Yeah, you got to make sure that you're
butt time.
Battening down the hatches. Yeah,
we got to stop giving away. Listen, it's clear, right? The next play ends the game, and we're more than 8 points clear or 7 points clear of the other team. We're going to win the game. We've got to stop giving it away, because that gives Toronto a valuable bonus point.
Yep.
And I don't see it. I really do see us, Atlanta, New York atop the East. But man, wouldn't it really suck to miss the playoffs by 1 point? You can look back at this time on the table. I don't think it's going to happen, but you gotta be ruthless. So that would be my key for the Free Jacks going forward. Get more ruthless. Close the door on these people and leave nothing.
You're absolutely
So
right, Bozo. I mean, it's a good point that you're making here is that we got to be closing out these games and not letting these teams back into it in any shape or form. I mean, the game was over in the sense that there was no way that Toronto was going to win, but they gave up that bonus point there at the end, the Jacks, that is. And it's just unfortunate because that's 2 weeks in a row that has happened. So we got
and
to
then
do
real
better
quick,
there.
can I just say how spoiled are we though that's what we have to complain about though?
Yeah.
Glad to play, proud of hell of the boys. The conditions
Yep.
were hellacious.
All
They
right.
want to talk about, hey, this is a home field and it is New England. And hey, I know that you're a transplant to New England, but you've been here long enough that you're used to the weather. I'm a lifelong New Englander,
Yep.
so I'm used to the weather. But I mean, it's not hard to see that a lot of the Free Jacks are from Dunedin and other places in South Africa and whatever. Maybe our Canadian boys are used to it, but some of these guys aren't used to that weather. So good on them. It's tough to play any sport in those conditions. So good for them.
Yeah, a lot of the boys were taking photos after the match or video rather of the snow coming down. I think it was, one of those things. It's like, this is not something that we experience at all wherever they come from. So it's kind of cool to see that. It was cold as hell, but at the same time, it's just like, it is what it is, man. I'm an adopted son of New England at this point. Yeah, it's cold here in the wintertime. That's just how it is. So it didn't bother me too much. There was other issues that I was having that I'll talk about that in the Outrider segment. But let's get into round 7.
Here we go.
What's going on here with your picks? Tell us before we get into anything, any type of special conjuring that you did for this knowledge here that you've gathered?
No, this one I did one of those physical suffering things so I could trigger the visions. So over the weekend, I just kind of I didn't get naked, so don't get all weird on me there. But I took off all my cold weather gear and I sat there and I did some breathing drills out there in the cold, and I really just kind of took it all in Mother Nature and just really pondered on round 7 in preparation for this one. This one's going to be the mystical than the watching of the previous round. So
Fair enough.
I'm hoping and praying that I go undefeated in round 7.
All right, let's get the picks underway here.
Yeah, here we go. So Utah is at home against Toronto. I believe this is finally, here we are, folks, Toronto's final away match prior to their first home match. Unfortunately for them, they're running into red hot Utah Warriors. I see them just going down. Hey, it's just going to be tough to get there. Again, they've just been on the road for what, like 1,100 days or something like that. Yeah, so they're on the road. Warriors are red hot. We got the Warriors over the Toronto Arrows.
All right.
That's too easy for me.
Yeah,
I think that's a lock.
I think you're right about that. It's going to be tough for Toronto to go across the country here to play Utah, a Utah team that just beat LA, the defending champions. So yeah, it's a tough task for sure.
I still believe in the Arrows. If the roles were reversed, if they were at home, I'd be picking them, but I just don't see them doing it on the road. And then so next up, we got another, again, in the parity. The parity in the West is pretty apparent to me at this point. So you've got the Gil Weenies versus San Diego Legion, both of them coming off of losses. It's LA is again at home. I want to say the Weenies, but no. San Diego is going to go into the Coliseum. They're going to get back to their winning ways. They're going to put the Guillotines to the sword, and hopefully this will be the first of many losses accumulated that just puts them to the sword. So they're one less Gil Weenie jabroni team that we have to talk about. So San Diego Legion goes into the Coliseum and takes out the Gil Weenies.
I just thought about this, but that has to be the shortest road trip in all of Major League Rugby. I think it's like an hour at the max, like 2 between these two cities without traffic. So that definitely has to be the shortest, I would imagine.
Yep.
So that's kind of interesting to think about it. Obviously, it's an away game because San Diego is not at home, but it's practically in their own backyard there. So one thing to keep in mind, folks. And we'll skip over our game, of course. So take it away with Dallas.
Hey, if you've been listening to my segment at all, I got mad love and respect for the Dallas Jackals, and they're at home. But listen, Seattle's 0-3 through rounds 4, 5, and 6. They get back on track in round 7, and they add to Dallas's misery, and they take down the Jackals.
Good for Rucky. Easy pickings for the hunting that's going to go to take place for Seattle. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Dallas continues to lose, but hopefully our buddy Cale Hodgson, friend of the show, will get a try. That would be great.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Go Kale, or AKA Carl, as they call him out there in Dallas.
Yes.
Big
Yeah.
time social media gaff that one
Love
Bozo
that.
6 had to correct. Hey,
Hilarious.
they loved my comment and they left it up there. So mad respect. Love me some Dallas Jackals. And then here we go. Here's my hot take. Phil, strap it in, buddy. I hope that you got your seatbelt buckled for this pick. This is a hot take. The NOLA Gold defeat the Hoboken semifinalists at home in the gold mine. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll remember correctly, NOLA Gold is winless at home.
Yep.
Winless. They're, well, no, they were off last week. Were they? No, they won last week. So they're 2 on the bounce right now. So they're going to make it 3 and beat New Jersey. So
that's one hell of a pick, Chris. I love what you're saying there, Bozo. This is fantastic. I would love to see New Jersey knock down a peg or two against a lesser opponent away. That would be fantastic. Kind of leading us up to the April 24th, I believe, match that we have against them once again there in Hoboken RFC, the Pizza Rats, the Sopranos, the semifinalists, and the Dirt Peckers, whatever the hell you want to call them. I'm ready to see them fall down quite a bit in the standings. That would be fantastic. So
yeah, and listen, again, I don't want to take too much on the segment. I'll just leave it at this. It's not the same, but NOLA kind of is giving me the same kind of vibes that the Free Jacks were last year. I think that they're becoming an underrated team. I think they had a very slow start. I think they're finding their feet. They're a gritty team. Listen, they've got Cam Dolan and they've got a couple other Eagles on the team. I think they're going to start to come into form. And I think it starts in round 7 against the Hoboken semifinalists, and they take them down to the gold mine.
Love that.
Let's go.
And for the Southern Bowl, if you want to call it that, I don't have a better name for it. We've got Old Glory DC against Rugby Atlanta is what I like to call them, because I think the initial thing is just so stupid. Who you got?
Yeah, the Rattlers, right? Or something like that.
That I'm okay with. It's just the ATL thing bugs me for whatever reason. I don't like that. I like Rattlers. If that's what your nickname wants to be, some type of animal, that's perfectly fine. I don't like the ATL stuff. Yeah.
Listen, I think unfortunately for OGDC, our red, white, and blue brethren down there, they remain winless. I think that ATL, Atlanta, Rattlers, whatever they are, I think they're just too good. And unfortunately, what really makes me sad about this match is I believe it's a bonus point win for Atlanta, not just a dub. I think they get the 4-try bonus point, which really stinks for us because it's just another point on the board that puts some distance between us. But we can right the ship when we play them and hand them a big fat L.
That's coming up soon, guys. We're going to have Tammy McQueen, who is now working for the Atlanta club, on the show in like a week or two. So make sure you're tuned in for that. That's breaking news right there. I don't think I've said that, or maybe I did last week. I don't know. Let's get over to the New England Free Jacks game here. Let me scroll up. There we go. All right.
So we have to go out to Austin and play the Jabronis, a semi kind of homecoming for Captain Larson, his first MLR side. I think they were the Austin Elite then.
Right. Yeah.
So he was never a Jabroni, thank God.
Yeah.
But we've got to go out there and listen. Obviously, I'm picking the Free Jacks, but I actually have a reason. So the Jabronis have been blooded, ladies and gentlemen. They have a loss in the column. They've finally taken their loss. And, how you respond to that loss is really important. And I think, unfortunately for the Jabronis, they're running into the red hot Free Jacks. We came off that road win against the Hoboken semifinalists, a gritty, grinding win at home where our defense was tested in the elements. I think now the boys are going to be, we got beautiful weather in the schedule this week for New England. So the boys will be out on the pitch out there at Fort Quincy playing. And then they're going to be going down to Texas, man. Are you kidding me? They're going to be high flying. Dougie Fife is back. Mitch Wilson's playing out of his mind. I don't know. Bozo's having a hard time figuring out when Bodine Walker's not going to be the best player in the league right now.
Right.
He's absolutely shredding people. And man, Joe Johnston, Slade McDowell just flying around, stacking bodies everywhere. Watch out, Jabronis.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough test, though, because the Gironis are legit, unfortunately. And it's an
Yeah.
away trip all the way down there to Austin. Hopefully Josh Larson has a great game, because I know he had a nightmare experience there with the Austin Elite way back in the day. So, yeah, hoping for the best for our Free Jacks, of course. We're going to be picking them. I don't think it's a shocker. This is a fan podcast. We're certainly not experts, but we're huge fans of the Free Jacks. We are Rangers, so we're always going to pick our Free Jacks. I just think it's going to be a very, very close game. So,
Well, yeah, and again, if people remember from last year, I do not have a 100% pick the Free Jacks record.
that's true.
And they made
That's
me
right.
eat my words last
Yep,
time.
they
But
sure did.
and in all honesty, if I truly feel that the Free Jacks aren't going to win the game for some reason, I'll express those concerns. I'm not afraid to do that, even on a fan podcast. But for real, Rugby ATL exposed them, beat them pretty good. And so they've shown the weakness. And again, like I think the parity in the West hasn't translated. Just because you're top of the table in the West, you haven't met the beasts of the East. And they're 0-1 against one of those beasts, and they're about to be 0-2.
Love that. Love that confidence. Bozo, you got anything before we get out of here?
No, man, I'm just enjoying my White Mountain Magic. Have a good one.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, huzzah.
Huzzah.
Woo!